Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
NCBA's CEO shares an update on some of the key issues facing the beef industry. Plus, valuable advice on how to develop an effective deworming strategy for your operation.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hi everybody and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Russell Nemitz. Well, in just a few minutes or so, we'll turn things over to Kevin Ochsner, but first, an update on some of the issues impacting the beef cattle industry right now. With all that happened in 2020 and in the early weeks of 2021, no doubt we've seen one of the most turbulent times for all of agriculture. Joining me now to talk more about some of the issues, challenges, and of course the opportunities ahead is NCBA Chief Executive Officer Colin Woodall. And Colin, first thing out of the chute today, there's officially a new president and a new administration in place. What challenges does that bring and what does that mean for the NCBA team working in Washington, D.C.?
Actually, what it means is we're going to have a tremendous number of opportunities to get started off on the right foot with President Biden and his new team. And that's the way that we have to look at it, especially given the fact that the Democratic Party controls all of Washington, D.C. right now. They have the White House, they have the House of Representatives, and they have the United States Senate. We have to make sure that we are working with all of them to educate them on who NCBA is, who we represent, what we stand for, and all of the issues that are important to us as cattle producers. We don't have the luxury to pick and choose whether or not they're Republicans or Democrats. We have to focus on who is there. And NCBA has always prided itself on being able to work on both sides of the aisle with both parties and in both houses of Congress to achieve our policy priorities. And we're taking that same approach now with President Biden and the new team in Congress. Matter of fact, we started this process not long after the election in meeting with President Biden's transition team. They were very open to meeting with us. We had some very productive conversations that ran the gamut of a whole host of issues, from dietary guidelines to sustainability to, believe it or not, another farm bill that is coming up here in 2021 as they begin the negotiations and hearings on what is next for farm policy. And we were very pleased with the reception that we received. It's also important to remember that we know the president. We knew him as vice president when he served under President Obama. We also knew him as a United States senator. So we have a long-standing relationship with President Biden. And when you look at his new team, he brought back a lot of familiar faces, namely Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack, who of course was Secretary of Agriculture during the Obama administration. He knows us, we know him, and I think we know what to expect in dealing with him over the next 4 to 8 years. But there's also some additional members of his team that he's brought on board that we've been very pleased with. One is Catherine Dyer. She is the nominee to be the U.S. Trade Representative. And given the importance of trade to our industry, this is a key part of any administration. Now, Ms. Dyer has worked for the House Ways and Means Committee, so she knows trade issues. She also speaks Mandarin Chinese, which I think is going to come in very handy as we continue to hold the Chinese feet to the fire on all of the commitments that they have made regarding trade, especially trade of U.S. beef. And then over at EPA, one area where we always get a little nervous, regardless of administration, regardless of party, just given our track record with the EPA, we had a very good conversation with Michael Regan. He is the nominee to be the administrator of the EPA. He comes to us from North Carolina, and he was very receptive to the opportunity to talk to us, talk about our concerns, and has left the door wide open for more conversations. And that is a door that we intend to walk through, because our job in Washington, D.C. is to make new friends, and that's exactly what we are already doing. We'll do more so as we see more and more members of the Biden administration be confirmed and take their positions in Washington, D.C.
Now we hear the Biden administration plans to focus more on issues like climate change as well as sustainability. Is this an opportunity, though, and how will NCBA work to respond?
I see this as a great opportunity for NCBA and the cattle industry, because we know that sustainability and climate change is top of mind for the Biden administration. He has made it very clear, and many of his departments have already made it very clear. In fact, there were multiple memos that were put out by the transition team focused on climate change. So we can expect that we're going to hear about climate change day in, day out, not only at the White House, but also on Capitol Hill. But the good part of this is there is already a recognition among the USDA team and several at the White House and within President Biden's team that agriculture is not the enemy here, that we can be a part of the solution. And that's where NCBA comes in. I think for way too long, we have talked about sustainability more from a perspective of additional regulations and somebody else typically being the government, putting more layers of bureaucracy on us as producers or telling us what we have to do as producers. We're taking a much different approach with President Biden and his team. We're going in and talking about all of the great successes that we have had in being very effective, efficient, and responsible stewards of our natural resources, and doing so without being governed by EPA, by the White House, or by Congress. We did this because it was the right thing. Just think about the fact that we can produce the same amount of beef today as we did in 1977 with a third fewer cattle. That is very sustainable of us. And the EPA didn't tell us that we had to do that. So we're going to be able to showcase all the great work that we've already done and also talk about our commitment to improve and continue to improve, because that's what we have always done as an industry. And it is right because it makes financial sense, and it's right because it makes sense in managing the ever shrinking number of natural resources that we have. So we are definitely seeing this as an opportunity for us to showcase all the great work that we as cattle producers are doing in the realm of sustainability.
Well, without question, Colin, the U.S. beef cattle industry has a tremendous amount of success stories to pass along to the Biden administration in the coming months and years ahead. But now more than ever, it seems NCBA members are going to be important to your work, not only in the strength of how many members, but with getting folks to get active. What can NCBA members, as well as producers out in the country, do to help the cause of the U.S. beef cattle industry?
Well, everybody who's watching us right now tonight who has an interest in the cattle industry needs to be a member of NCBA, because we need to show the strength that this industry has. And more importantly, we need to speak with one voice, because as I said, we're going to have many opportunities with this administration, but I also believe that we're going to have quite a few challenges. And with those challenges, we're going to need to all work together in order to protect our industry and make sure that we keep the government out of our business and we can keep doing what we do each and every day, and that is producing the highest quality and best tasting protein on earth while protecting the welfare of our animals and the overall natural resources that we have the stewardship over. We can do that as an association when we're all working together. But it's also about the engagement in determining where the association is going to go. We are a grassroots organization. As the CEO, I do not make the policy positions of NCBA. That comes from cattle producers who are a member of this association, who come together and work on our policies. That's what gives us so much strength as an association, and that's what gives us all of our power in Washington, D.C., is the fact that we are talking on behalf of our membership. We can go to Capitol Hill, we can go to the White House, we can talk about our position on any number of issues and be able to say that this came from the producers themselves. not from us as staff. And the only way that you have a chance to influence that is to become a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Get engaged with our policy process and make sure that your voice is heard, because we want to hear your voice, and your voice is extremely powerful in the way that our association is set up. As I said, we are truly a grassroots organization. We are led by volunteer leaders who are producers, and our policy is developed by producers. Again, that is what makes NCBA such a strong advocate for the U.S. cattle industry. So come join us, because there's a lot to do, and you're going to have a lot of opportunities to help chart the path of this association, not only the next 4 years, but many more years to come.
Colin, shifting gears, one of the encouraging things during the pandemic was how consumer demand for beef held strong. Beef promotion never stopped during that time, but now beef is getting some additional exciting promotion on the national level. Give us an update on this topic.
We are very excited to announce that the Federation of State Beef Councils, which is a part of NCBA, is using checkoff investment to sponsor the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300, which is going to be a NASCAR race as part of the kickoff of racing season at Daytona International Speedway. This is going to take place on Saturday, February the 13th, and we couldn't be more excited for the national exposure that this race is going to bring, not only to cattle producers, but to the Beef It's What's for Dinner brand. We saw a tremendous amount of positive feedback from our sponsorship of the Countdown to Christmas on the Hallmark Channel throughout the holidays, where the Beef It's What's for Dinner commercials returned to broadcast TV for the first time since 2003. That really helped propel us to see that there's a lot of value in getting back on broadcast television, and to be a part of NASCAR and to be the sponsor. The Beef It's What's for Dinner 300, I think, is just going to continue to refresh that Beef It's What's for Dinner brand in the minds of consumers and encourage more people to eat more beef more often. So again, Saturday, February the 13th, it's the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300 down at Daytona International Speedway.
That indeed is some very exciting news, and without question, music to my ears. I can't wait for that race down there in Daytona to showcase and highlight the Beef It's What's for Dinner brand, and of course all of the cattlemen and cattlewomen across this great country of ours. Hey Colin, as we begin to wind this segment down, what other insights or closing thoughts would you have for cattle producers out there in the country today?
I know there's a lot of angst and uncertainty about where we're going over the next 4 years with the new administration and the new Congress. And that is well warranted given some of the experiences that we've had in the past. But let's not allow that to cloud our ability to be open, to be engaged, and to go forward and find every opportunity possible to work with this administration to show our willingness to be a part of the conversation and ultimately the solution. A former NCBA president, J.D. Alexander from Nebraska, used to always say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And that's the approach that we're taking here with this administration, is to be at the table for every single one of these conversations. But again, the only way that we can continue to project that strength is with the engagement of cattle producers. So to be the trusted leader and definitive voice of this association, we need everybody who's watching today to join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and be a part of the winning team in Washington, D.C. that represents this great industry of ours.
Well, Colin, as always, we appreciate you joining us here on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, and thank you for your time and the work and the NCBA staff to do the fight for all U.S. beef cattle producers across the entire nation.
Thank you, Russell.
Now, just a friendly reminder that there's a great opportunity for producer education as well as information coming up with the Cattle Industries Convention Winter Reboot. It's a completely virtual event that you can join right from your home computer screen, and it's all set for February 23rd and 24th. There's going to be a Cattle Facts Market Outlook session, an update out of Washington, D.C., and even 10 producer education sessions that can help set you up for success here in 2021. Now, registration is open now, and you can get all of the details by visiting convention.ncba.org. With that, we'll go ahead and turn it back over to Kevin Ochsner for the rest of our program. Kevin, take it away.
Thanks, Russell. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association works every day to advance the economic, political, and social interests of the U.S. cattle business, and to be an advocate for the cattle industry's policy positions and economic interests. We had a chance to ask one NCBA member why he values being a part of both his state Cattlemen's Association and the national organization.
I'm a member of Ohio Cattlemen's and the NCBA because they support cattlemen. They support cattlemen's issues and they fight for us. I got started involved with Ohio Cattlemen quite a few years ago. When my daughter was younger, she ran for and got the Ohio Beef Queen. Our family's always been wanting to give back to things that do well for us. And so when I was asked to run for the board of directors for Ohio Beef Cattlemen's Association, I was glad to give back. That's something that we really want to do, is give back to the community and give back to the operations, whether it be NCBA or Ohio Cattlemen's. We want to give back to those organizations that help us. It's important to be a member of Ohio Cattlemen's or the NCBA because who else is going to fight for you?
To keep up to date on the issues facing cattlemen and women, and to help make a difference in the industry, why not join Kelvin as a member of NCBA? It's easy to do. Just call 866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll take you inside a farm in Kentucky that's producing valuable research for the beef industry. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a better shot at profitability with a more consistent, more efficient cow herd? Then don't miss out on the maternal edge offered by Gelbvieh and Balancer Genetics.
Stayability and longevity is really a strength of the Gelbvieh breed, and when these cows can remain in the herd 10 years or thereabouts, they return a lot of dollars to the producers.
Research shows Gelbvieh cows will stay in your herd longer with greater fertility and more pounds of calf wean.
It's the ability of that cow not only to have that calf unassisted, but to own that calf, to stay right there with that calf, to do whatever's necessary to get that calf going no matter what. No breed we work with does a better job of owning that calf and making sure that she's going to take care of than the Gelbvieh breed.
For cow-calf producers, the maternal traits offered by Gelbvieh and Balancer Genetics are the smart, reliable, and profitable choice. Find out more at the website gelbvieh.org.
Research conducted by colleges and universities can lead to new techniques and technology that can have a significant impact on cattle producers. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Brad Bulla has more on a great farm in Kentucky that's providing producers with cutting-edge information.
Located in northeast Kentucky, Eden Shale Farm was founded by the University of Kentucky in 1955. In 2012, the Kentucky Beef Network, an arm of the Kentucky Cattlemen's Association, assumed the management of the farm through a cooperative agreement with the UK College of Agriculture.
We knew going in at that point in time that we didn't have the personnel or the financing to do research like the university did. So being a membership organization, we took that Kentucky Beef Network model of reaching out production-wise and put it to use here at the farm. So we use this as a demonstration and learning center.
I think that what this adds to us is basically what you have is a bunch of kind of geeky square scientists, that come up with these crazy ideas and stuff like that. But by partnering with the Kentucky Cattlemen's Association and the Beef Cattle Network, now we have practicality. I'm an environmentalist, but I'm working well with the Cattlemen's Association. And that it's a great relationship because we're basically looking at the same thing. We're basically looking at improving the profitability and the production of Kentucky producers.
It's been really positive. And man, it's given us, how many cattlemen's associations do you know of that have a 1,000-acre farm to be able to do these practices. I mean, and if we can farm up there and do stuff, I mean, I think it gives some clout and credibility into what we do in other places. So it's really a fun place to go and to watch what's taken place since we started.
Eden Shale Farm's pastures and commercial cow herd are typical of most Kentucky cattle operations. And the farm is managed in a very real-world way. That means the production practices developed and tested on the farm are well suited for producers to implement on their own operations.
We work directly with producers at helping them with on-farm efficiencies, at helping them with certifications like the Beef Quality Assurance Program, things such as that. And we have a Master Cattlemen series here in Kentucky that we do that gets very high level for the producers as far as getting hands-on and helping them learn techniques that they can take back to their farms and implement. So we're very much the production arm of the Kentucky Cattlemen's Association to help those producers learn new skills and techniques. One thing that gives us a huge advantage, we feel like, is that we have to manage this farm much like a producer would. When the Kentucky Beef Network took this farm over from the university, we did not get funding along with it. So we took the little bit of money that we had set aside and purchased the initial cow herd, and we now manage the farm each year on the revenue that those calves generate us each year. So once we sell our cattle, we're making the same decisions the producer has as to how much fence can I afford to fix and how much fertilizer can I put down and those kind of things.
It's a direct connection because, I mean, the stuff that they're doing here is the same thing that producers are doing on their farms. What I really like about this operation is they're on a shoestring budget. And also the farm speaks well, or speaks of this kind of not very much money as far as putting on the ground. I mean, and so those are the same type of situations that farmers deal with. They have to make tough decisions. I only have so much money, what am I going to spend it on?
Eden Shale Farm covers more than 900 acres, and the knowledge shared here is varied, covering everything from weaning to fencing, facilities design, and more.
We do everything different out here as far as, I mean, we don't do the same practice every time. So we do a different twist on everything at that time. So when we bring tours out here and producers out here, they've basically got a cafeteria style menu to choose from. And they can pick and choose any kind of, you know, what they want to take home with them. So it's just a lot of things that we do out here just make a lot of practical sense.
Our Kentucky producers, the main thing they're looking for is time efficiency. They want production efficiency as well, but time efficiency is what they need. A lot of them work full-time jobs and farm nights and weekends, and of course in the winter that means they're farming in the dark. So it's a real challenge to have enough time to get everything done. So anything we can do that increases their efficiency while also having a production benefit really excites them. So the fence line feeding system really gets a lot of interest from producers across Kentucky. It's simple, it's effective, they can implement it. The large bale feeder, same thing. It's simple, it's effective, and they can implement it. It's always important to keep our producers on the cutting edge to make sure that they are staying competitive in the market.
From Eden Shale Farm in Kentucky, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about this great research and educational farm in the Bluegrass State, visit the website EdenShaleFarm.com. When we return, we'll share some valuable tips on how you can protect your herd from internal parasites. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's time to register for the 2021 Cattle Industry Convention Winter Reboot virtual event, February 23rd and 24th. Reconnect, reinvent, and reimagine all the ways you can engage with top industry experts and vendors virtually from anywhere. The Winter Reboot is a jam-packed 2-day virtual event consisting of education programs, a Washington, D.C. issues update, CattleFax Outlook session, Tech Tools preview, and a sneak peek at what to expect during the 2021 Cattlemen's College. This is a great way to reset in 2021 and prepare for the upcoming in-person Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, August 10th through 12th in Nashville, Tennessee. Dial in to convention.ncba.org for all the details and to get registered today.
Internal parasites can be major profit robbers, cutting an animal's ability to gain weight and maintain health. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Matt Fleck has some steps you can take to protect your herd from parasites.
In southern Nebraska, 3 cattle businesses are working to deliver powerful results, from the calf all the way to the finished steer.
Powerline and Power Genetics are the same. Power Genetics is the feed yard supply chain. Powerline is a seed stock bull chain.
The Powerline Genetics is a bull marketing operation. We sell approximately 500 Semangus bulls throughout the year at different sales in different regions.
Grazers Inc. is the cow-calf side of Powerline Genetics, J.D. Anderson's side of the bulls, and we raise bulls for Powerline is our focus.
Through Powerline, we are able to connect our bull customers with the feed yards that are part of the Power Genetics grid. The Semangus cattle perform well in the yards and then still grade well. So it gives our customers an opportunity, for potentially a better price and help their bottom line.
And the beauty of Power Genetics is we have 30 years now of open communication between retailers and food service people of Cargill's customers back to us as feed yard managers, and then back to our ranches that we buy and sell bulls to and their calves for the past 30 years. And it's been a great run, and I'm just been blessed to be part of it.
Whether it's the cows and calves at grazers or the steers on feed for Power Genetics, the care and performance of the animals is priority one. And for this team, as for producers everywhere, there is an ongoing fight against internal parasites that can negatively impact herd health.
Herd health is everything because, one, the data would show that every time an animal gets sick, it cuts its ability to grade choice literally in half each time. 2, from a performance stand, it's big.
As we look at parasites in cattle, the number one thing that they do is they're going to affect feed intake. So any time that we affect feed intake, now we're going to start to affect production. So it doesn't matter if we're looking at reproduction, if we're looking at milk production, or if we're just looking at growth. So parasites cause inflammation in the intestinal tract. That causes a decrease in appetite. And then as we decrease our appetite, we're going to decrease nutrient intake, also nutrient absorption.
Parasites, we feel, are a big issue. Just green grass, cows are gonna pick them up. All the calves will get a Safeguard oral dewormer at weaning time. And then the cows, they'll get it as soon as I can get them to the chute, which varies every year.
One of the keys to fighting internal parasites is measuring the problem. That makes it important to work with a veterinarian to gather fecal samples and determine how effective your deworming program is.
We take fecal samples once annually just to see and address any issues we have from a management standpoint, getting ahead of our infections.
So a lot of times what we really need to do is we need to focus on work with the veterinarian and let's see what type of problem do we have as far as parasitism on your ranch. And there's very easy ways to go about it. Merck Animal Health has maintained the largest database. For about 10 years we've been doing fecal samples all across the country and following the efficacies of products through. And what this has allowed us to do is to pick up subtle changes as we start to look at how are our products working. Not just Safeguard, but also macrocyclic lactones, all the ivermectin products. Any product that's being used, we can evaluate efficacy just by looking at what type of response do we see in those cattle.
Safeguard is highly effective and available in several different forms to be used chute-side or in the mineral or feed. Equally important, using Safeguard with another class of dewormer concurrently ensures a sustainable deworming program that keeps resistance to a minimum.
As we start to look at a lot of the data coming out around resistance, what they found is if we will take and we'll utilize 2 different products that come from different classes. So Safeguard is a benzimidazole product. It has a different mechanism of action than the macrocyclic lactones, the ivermectin products. If we combine those 2, now we're attacking the worm from 2 different angles. And as we talk to parasitologists, they feel like that's a strong opportunity for us to start to try to delay the development of resistance that we can see in these animals. So utilizing those 2 products together at a timely manner, and then trying to stay strategic.
Both research and experience show once an effective deworming program is in place, cattle performance is improved.
Since we've started using Safeguard here at Grazers, I can see the cattle coming on feed, hitting the feed bunk harder, and really gaining just feed efficiency, overall feed efficiency. You can see that, the cattle just do better.
If we can really get on top of parasite loads, it ties everything else that we look at in herd health, our vaccination programs, our implant strategies, everything ties back in to where did we start at when we look at this. If we look at a cow-calf sector, a study that was done at Iowa State would indicate that it's about a $200 value to a good deworming program at the cow-calf level as we start to look at weaning weights, reproduction, all those things associated with it. So deworming is key strategy when it comes to herd health programs.
It's as simple as to get herd health matters drastically because we're going to keep records on where the source of the cattle is, and we'll pay more for healthy cattle.
In the end, delivering better performing, healthier cattle is what it's all about. At Power Genetics in Nebraska, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Now, if you want to develop an effective deworming strategy, you can contact your local veterinarian, parasitologist, or animal health provider. You can also visit safeguardworks.com for the latest information on cattle deworming. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll take you to Greeley Hat Works for a behind-the-scenes look at how they make their legendary lids. That story when we return. Stay with us.
We didn't just design the 6M tractors with you in mind. We designed them with you by our side. The new 6M tractors from John Deere, reimagined by you, for you. With improved visibility, better maneuverability, and more ways to customize, so you get everything you need and nothing you don't. Experience the new 6M at your local John Deere dealer.
For many ranchers, the cowboy hat just may be the most important part of their wardrobe. Each one is unique and says a lot about the person wearing it. Russell Nemitz has a look at Greeley Hat Works, the legendary custom hat maker in Colorado.
I did not choose to be a hat maker, it chose me. My biggest takeaway from being in the hat business is not to sound cheesy that, the hat is an extension of you, or your hat is as unique as your signature. I don't care what any newspaper or news channel says, not everybody hates America. And the most iconic thing of the American West is the cowboy hat. So Greeley Hat Works has been around since 1909. I'm the fourth hat maker to own it. I was an apprentice here for 3.5 years, and as of January 1st of 2021 will be my 25th anniversary of being the owner. It's just really an honor and be able to kind of continue the legacy. The number one part of designing a hat for somebody, and the number one part of designing, I don't care what it is, I don't care if it's genetics and cattle. The first thing is to be able to listen to your customer. That's the number one thing, is being able to listen. How are they going to use it? What do they use it for? Who are they? Those types of things, and then also with their build and their face shape, that's how we start working it all together. So that when I say it's an extension of your personality, it's because I'm listening to you and what you're into or what you do or how you're going to use it, and I try to really pack all of that into one hat. So we've built hats for movies and all of that stuff, but real people, the cattlemen, that's our bread and butter, and that's like working for salt of the earth people. If they don't like it, they'll tell you, and not every hat I build is perfect. But the great thing with the cattlemen is when it's not perfect or they're not happy, they talk to me about it, and it makes me better every time. So a lot of it is just about the relationships. The first president I got to make hats for was President Bush, and I've been blessed enough to build him several now. The first hat we got to build for him was at NCBA conference in Denver, and they wanted to give the president a hat as a gift. The cattlemen and cattlewomen and that entire industry, why it's so special is because of that tradition. They're not just wearing a hat because they saw someone wear it on Yellowstone. And their sweat in that hat is the badge of their hard work in feeding America and the world. So for me, it's kind of like a soft reset when I'm at an NCBA or, you know, we support and work with a lot of state affiliations all over the country. So it's just always a breath of fresh air and kind of like a soft reset to get back to real people. Like that's what's made us. My last year as an apprentice, we built 60 hats, 60. My first year, so 25 years ago, we built about 120. Last year, we built about 5,000, and people will be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But if you look at that growth over 25 years, it's slowly ridiculous growth, but it was manageable. Because if you get too big, too fast, the first two things that go are quality and customer service. And I'm hungry and I want to have a nice life and I want all my coworkers to have a nice life, but it's going to take time. You can't just turn and burn and sell a bunch of hats because you're going to sell that customer one hat one time. When they put it on, usually when I shape it and we put it on their head, they don't get to look in the mirror. They have to look at me first, and then if they brought like a spouse or a loved one, they have to look at them next. And then if we both agree that we like it, then they get to look in the mirror, and we call it mirror worthy. And then, just the smile, it's like done. It's awesome. And you know, we have a lot of people that we built 15, 20 hats for, and you don't do that if you don't have good quality and good customer service.
It's truly impressive to see those hats being made, and even more amazing to wear one. For more information on how you can get your own custom fitted hat, visit GreeleyHatworks.com. Greeley Hatworks has been a long-time supporter of NCBA in many ways, from being an exhibitor at the NCBA trade show to supporting those that work to recruit new members through the Top Hand Club. To find out how you can help the beef industry and have the chance to earn a custom fit hat directly from Greeley Hatworks, go to ncba.org. Still ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll meet the Dyer family in Southwest Texas, where innovation and commitment are helping to keep the ranching tradition alive. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
That certain time in the day when you can take a deep breath, knowing your work is done. That's the feeling Aspen products can create. Cost-effective alternatives to name brands that deliver the same results. Qualaxin is one of them. Use it to prevent and treat respiratory disease in your herd. Then breathe easy. Find them at Animal Health International.
Travel to the Davis Mountains in Southwest Texas, and you'll find beautiful but tough cattle country. It's a region with very few towns, but dedicated families who have a long tradition of raising outstanding cattle. And to succeed there, it helps if you're a little bit innovative. You'll see what I mean as Brian Baxter introduces us to the Dyer family.
Jim Dyer is doing what he's done nearly his whole life, saddling horses, riding out, and gathering cattle on the grasslands of the Big Bend area of West Texas.
Oh man, I think it's some of the best cattle country in the world. We get a real mild winter. Very seldom do we get any snow, and if we do get snow, it's melted off by noon the next day or something. And so it's pretty mild winter, and then The only drawback to it is we don't get any spring rain most of the time. All our rains usually come in the summer. We get the monsoons come up out of Mexico. We call it Rancho Espuela Cattle Company. Espuela means spur in Spanish. We bought a bunch of cows out of Kansas back in the mid-70s, and they had the spur brand on it, and it wasn't registered in Hudspeth County, so we just registered that spur brand, and we named the company Rancho Espuela.
This is the Davis Mountains, or the mountain range here, and it's a good cattle country, even though it's part of the Chihuahuan Desert. But our average rainfall is about 15 inches, and we're a cow-calf operation, and we struggle like everyone else sometimes when it doesn't rain, but as you can see this year, we got pretty good rain, so we're pretty pleased, and everyone's in a good mood.
Jim's daughter Amanda helps him with the ranch and with Big Bend Trailers, the company he founded using his own experience to create an innovative stock trailer with useful features that will stand up in the toughest country.
Well, my dad started Big Bend Trailers in 2003, and I came on to help him out about, I guess, 7 or 8 years ago, and so we're just a family-run operation. We actually ranch for a living, and it was kind of a fluke deal that he started this trailer business, just kind of a side business, but now it's turned into a full-time business and a full-time job for me.
Well, I think one of the things that makes Big Bend different is that I don't know of any other trailer manufacturer that actually ranches for a living, and so we get first-hand use. We get to know what works and what doesn't work. So if we can figure out a way to do it easier where it's less work, well, heck, we'll do it and design it into our trailer.
I would like to say that they're the toughest on the market, and I think that just goes back to the fact that we use them, and we use them in rough country, and so if there is a weak spot on them, we correct them, and you know, everything that we do with the trailers is to make them stout and to make them last. That's our motto is Ranch Tough, and that's what they are. They're tough.
Big Bend Trailers are now sold from coast to coast, and Jim has continued to work to add innovative features to make each of the trailers his company builds tougher and easier to use. The Dyers also still innovate in their cattle business. A few years back, they switched from limousine, adding the Akaushi breed to their operation.
We raised Akaushi cattle. We got into that breed in 2010, actually. I'd gone through the TC Ranch Management Program, and we saw some on feed, and they looked a lot like limousine cattle, which is what we were raising to begin with, and they were saying that they would grade prime on grass, and so it just intrigued me.
We bought some Akaushi full-blood bull calves and put them on our first calf limousine heifers and calved out of them, and they're real easy calving. They calve about like a longhorn. They have real small calves, and so we were really pleased with the calving ease, and so ever since then we've always bred our heifers to them, and we don't really have to watch the heifers. They kind of calve on their own, and we don't have any problems to speak of at all.
The Dyer family's roots in ranching go back several generations. Jim grew up showing cattle with the encouragement of his parents, James and Jan, who got married nearly 70 years ago and started the family cattle operation in this part of Texas.
Well, it's a real strong country, and I bought cattle for Young and Cooper out of Kansas, and they bought cattle everywhere, and they come down here. Les Cooper come down here several times. He said he thought this was the best country he had ever seen.
I love this ranch. It's like I said, it's God's country. I love it. We raised our family here. Our grandchildren grew up here, and our great-grandchildren are growing up here. It's a wonderful place to live.
You can't pick your parents, but if I could, I'd sure pick my dad and mom. It's been a blessing, you know, to have them as parents, and they've been a great role model and you know, a mentor and everything. And I really like to follow in his footsteps. And yeah, it's just been great to, you know, to work together as a family. And to me, you'd be hard pressed to find a better life and what you could do for a living that you love, getting up every morning and love what you do for a living.
At the home of the Dyer family and Big Bend Trailers in West Texas, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Now, if you're interested in a new trailer that can stand up to the harshest conditions, then check out the website bigbendtrailers.com and see all the options they have available. Do you want to rewatch an episode of Cattlemen to Cattlemen or catch up on anything you've missed? Then visit our YouTube page. You'll find replays of all our shows filled with educational segments and producer profiles from all across the country. Go to youtube.com/Cattlemen to Cattlemen to check it out. When we return, it's time for a visit with our good friend Baxter Black. Stay with us.
Out of the box for the Reride Side of Rodeo. 3 audio books, rodeo novels by Baxter Black. A total of 23 hours following our cowboy guys and gals on the road to the finals. Rambunctious, exciting, kind-hearted, and funny, of course. $39.90. CDs or downloads, BaxterBlack.com. 800-654-2550. On the road to the rodeo, horse show, state fair, ball game, or grandma's house, climb on up and take a ride with me.
Did you know that Prefert makes over 1,000 different farm, ranch, and rodeo items? And now, thanks to Prefert Direct, it's easier than ever before to get access to every item Prefert makes delivered direct to your local dealer. For more information about Prefert Direct, visit us at Prefert.com. Prefert, America's #1 name in farm, ranch, and rodeo.
Ladies and gentlemen, how many times have you been leading your cow down the street and suddenly look back to find her with a foot stuck in the storm drain? Or taking her to a nice neighborhood tavern only to have her catch her hoof behind a footrail at the bar and create a scene? You need Cow Extractor. Yes, the genuine patented must-have bovine tested, ruminant approved, guaranteed not to curdle. The milk fits any finger. Cow Extractor. Sure, you're saying Cow Extractor will work on small cows like the Jersey Southdown Cross. But what if you're the owner of a big 4-wheel drive Kia Caterpillar composite with a head like a bucket on the front end loader and feet the size of Humvee rims? Cow Extractor has a solid gold guarantee. Just return the unused portion with an 8x10 glossy of your cow, unextracted, and an affidavit signed by a certified Cow Extractor technician in your area, and we will rush Lars Narsveld, our international Cow Extractor expert, to your home, farm, or place of business with his backhoe and handyman jack to consult you on how to properly execute your Cow Extractor. We are awash in testimonials from satisfied customers, says Joe in Tulare. My cow was stuck in a rut. Get up, eat, give milk, sleep. Get up, eat, give milk, sleep. Over and over she became depressed. Cow Extractor changed all that. And now she's taking classes at community college in interspecies relations. Yes! Cow Extractor can extract your cows out of a womb, a nose, a tractor trailer, a mesquite thicket, a well casing, a deer blind, a Chevy Suburban, a snowbank, a pool hall, a bear trap, a powder river panel, a portable dipping vat, a yard sale, 10 cow pile up, the neighbor's pasture, the neighbor's meat freezer, a hog wire flatbed, homecoming float, the sorting alley, loading chute, poetry gathering, cabinet meeting, or a bad relationship. Yes, no farm or ranch should be without Cow Extractor. As Joe from Okeechobee says, I've tried it all with Wrecking Ball from Dynamite and Tractor, but when she's stuck, I've had good luck by using Cow Extractor. So there you have it in a nutshell. Order yours today so the next time you won't be caught saying, oh, now's when we need Cow Extractor. Ah! This is Baxter Black from in there.
If you'd like to know more about NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen and have an opportunity to support our effort to create valuable news, information, and education just for cattle producers, then check out our website, cattlementocattlemen.org.
Many producers are increasing their profitability by selling their beef directly to consumers. But as Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Lane Nordland tells us, there are many factors to consider if you're thinking about direct marketing your own beef.
Moult, Montana ranchers Sarah and Hank Hollenbeck started their own direct-to-consumer brand, High Five Meats 5 years ago. They took their knowledge of the business and recently hosted a 5-part beginner's guide to direct marketing meat webinar series to help their fellow producers learn the do's and don'ts of the business.
You know, I've spoken at a number of conferences over the years, and a lot of people come up to me afterward and say, I've always wanted to try it, but I just don't know how to get started. I don't know how to begin. And so I've been getting just, bombarded with questions from people on the internet, in person, all the time asking me questions. And I love answering them. I love connecting with people one-on-one. But I see this huge need for someone like myself that has been doing it for a few years and can kind of give them the information that they need to get started.
Webinar attendees from 11 states heard from multiple experts in the business that discuss starting out, pricing, processing, marketing, and shipping product.
Instead of someone trying to jump into this, not necessarily know exactly what they're doing, maybe giving a customer a bad first interaction, I don't want that to happen. I want it to be a good, positive relationship on the rancher's side, on the customer side. And so I think if I can give some information on how to make that a seamless interaction, that will hopefully keep people coming back and trying to buy direct from a ranch.
For Hollenbeck, it's all about helping her fellow producers.
I wouldn't do this if I was not super excited about the potential of other people selling their meat directly. Talking to other ranchers that are like, I have this idea, makes me so excited that they're so excited, and I just want to help and possibly give them some more guidance on their journey.
Even though the live webinars have concluded, cattlemen and women can still participate in the 5-part pre-recorded webinar series by registering at highfivemeats.com, where they can also use the discount code NCBA during checkout. Reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, I'm Lane Northland.
Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week, right here on RFD TV.